see if we can get a thumbnail. It's low quality. Stupid mouse. It's not working. Come on. There we go. Sorry guys, I'm trying to get a good thumbnail for this video. Apparently I was not prepared. And it seems to be low quality. Why is it only 360p? Let's see, can I take a snapshot here? New. Oh, cancel. No. There we go. Now I can, there we are. File, save as desktop. Thumb. Sorry guys, I am just getting my thumbnail together for the stream because apparently I don't know what I'm doing. And apparently I need to turn up the audio. Is that better? That should work better. Alright, let's change the thumbnail here to be the one I just took. There we are. Save. Good. Okay. Okay. I don't have COVID. I was just making a lot of dust today, so I'm still sneezing. Background noise, maybe it's the fan was making background noise. Other than that, my computer's right beside the monitor. Maybe I can just turn it down a little bit more. We'll see if that audio is good now. Also, I wonder if are you guys seeing, what resolution are you seeing this in? It's been a while since I've used streaming or this YouTube Studio Live dashboard, so we'll see how this works out. Trying to pin. There we are. I have merchandise now. And I did not have dinner, so I will have a Twizzler. How's it going, guys? All 12 of you, 13. Welcome to that 13th person. You are unlucky today. You can see that I've grown a little bit of facial hair. 720p, that's good. I think that might be all that I can do on my wireless connection right now until I hardwire my computer, which involves about 50 feet of Ethernet cable to the back wall over there. And it's good, it's 1080p, because whenever I can go to, let me just maybe sterilize my stream here a little bit. Whenever I go to my streaming platform here and go full screen here, then I only have 360p. I don't know why. So we'll go back to webcam. There we are. But that was fun to watch. You're probably wondering, why I haven't done any water wheel or hydroelectric stuff. And the problem is I have other priorities right now. So my whole YouTube channel is kind of taking a back seat to life because I'm trying to get caught up on a lot of stuff because daycare is now open. So the kid goes to school and I come home and I work on lots of stuff. Some of it is potentially like recordable for YouTube, like today would have been a great day for a real simple project, but I just wanted to get it done, so I didn't record any of it. I didn't even take pictures. And the project at hand is my grandfather had a lawn cart, like pull behind a tractor lawn trailer. It's pretty heavy duty. It's all welded angle iron. The consensus is not, there's no consensus as to whether he built it or bought it. This is a long time ago, and he's passed away 25 years ago now. And it was made of plywood. Well, the decking was plywood and the rest of it was angle iron, and all the plywood had rotted out. So I replaced all the plywood with fiberglass sheets. There's a guy near me that sells factory seconds fiberglass sheets. In fact, there's some there, those red things in the background. And I replaced all the plywood in the trailer with the fiberglass sheets. But before I could do that, I wanted to paint it. And before I could do that, I had to pressure wash it. And before I did that, I had to buy a pressure washer. So that's my day in reverse, basically. Pressure washer, paint, fiberglass, and well, now it's done-ish. And then in the meantime, I was also, what was I doing? I needed a floor on my chicken coop because there's no bottom on it right now, and predators could get in there and eat the chickens if they're not stowed into the inside portion of it. So I built a platform that the chicken coop will rest on, and it serves dual purpose. I can level the platform on the hillside where it's going to be. So I made a platform again out of similar fiberglass sheets, but in that case they're white instead of red, and it's still 3/4 inch stuff. I don't see any comments. All I see is Gordon Fleming at 1080p. Am I missing something? Let me pull it up. Nope, it's still working. General Kenobi. I got that. This is the fiberglass sheet that I replaced the plywood on my trailer with. You know, kind of 1/4 inch thick. I mean, they're factory seconds, so quality control is not great. Some of them are thicker, some are thinner. What is this? I have my calipers here. See, this is 0.230 inches. So 20 thousandths less than 1/4 inch. Maybe why it didn't pass quality control. Also, that sheet that I used on the garden trailer, it had like a waviness in the texture, but not like on the surface of it. Like if you put your fingers across it, it didn't feel wavy, but it visually had a wave in it. So maybe that's why it didn't pass quality control. I don't know. Anil Rabadine. You should probably clarify, because I don't think you're American, exactly what mechanical engineer is, because they have different definitions around the world. So where I am, a mechanical engineer is not a protected term, at least in my state. So I can call myself a mechanical engineer. Well, pretty much anybody could if they had the experience, but I specifically could call myself one because I have a degree in mechanical engineering, a bachelor's of science. In other places, a mechanical engineer may be somebody who repairs cars. So you have to be clear about what it is when you say you want to be a mechanical engineer. If you want to be somebody who spends 4 years in college, does a lot of bookwork, then yeah, I say go for it. There's a lot of stuff you can learn. I am not actively using my engineering degree, partially because of where I live, and partially because of our financial status. It's not necessary that I get an engineering job, nor is it really feasible that I could have a full-time engineering job with what we do. All right. The fiberglass sheets, those were $25 for a 4x8 sheet of 1/4 inch. And the 1/4 inch stuff is probably about as stiff as a 1/2 inch sheet of plywood. And for those new viewers, I was talking about a trailer that I refurbished. And this is some of the old plywood that was part of it. You can see it's no longer wood, it's dirt in a wood facsimile. I don't know how it's said. Put that in with the burnable stuff. And I said before I might talk a little bit slow, and that's one of the things I learned in engineering school, is to think about what you're saying and not use filler words. So I try not to use filler words. The pressure washer that I got is, let's try to not show my crack again, sorry. It's this one. It's a Simpson 3700 PSI, 2.5 gallons per minute with a Honda. It's a Honda GX200. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't put the horsepower on the engines anymore. It's like they want you to buy it just based on the PSI or something. But a Honda GX200 is like a 5.5 horsepower engine. And a lot of the cheaper pressure washers were like 3 horsepower engines. So, I don't know. I want a pressure washer with 13 horsepower Honda engine, but you can't get those for cheap. Joshua is saying if it's like a G10 board. I don't know if it's like G10. It's just fiberglass with resin. I don't even know if it's epoxy or polyester resin. So I don't know. Have I put a garden in yet? Kinda. I have a lot of volunteer potatoes from last year, so I'm happy about that. And my wife planted a lot of herbs, and then we have some other holdover herbs and rhubarb and strawberries and stuff like that. I usually do tomatoes, but this year I haven't, and I don't know if I'm going to. Previous years I've tried growing tomatoes. I don't have the green thumb to do it. And second, I don't often actually eat the tomatoes. Most of the times I grow the tomatoes to put on pizza or into spaghetti sauce. So I don't know. I'm not a huge gardener, partially because I don't like green foods. So that's my status with a garden, at least. Electric pressure washers are so common now, and I've used one, and it's a completely underwhelming experience. Like, I've tried pressure washing. Our front entrance to our business gets all sorts of spider webs in the eaves and the soffit, and it takes forever to pressure wash that with an electric pressure washer that we borrow. So I hope with this bigger pressure washer that it'll do it a lot better. I also got a turbo nozzle for it, so we'll see if that helps too. Advice on how to make a custom torsion spring. I want something that will rotate semi-rotor hand pump back after pulling it. I don't know what you're asking for exactly. It sounds like you need something that's pretty stout. And all I can say is go on eBay and look for torsion springs. Other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of engineering experience with springs or recommendations for that matter. Have I ever seen a UFO? No. I actually did some math for electric pressure washer, comparing it to my hydroelectric stream of water at full capacity, and I actually have as much energy coming out of my hydro system as an electric pressure washer. It's just that I exchange a lot of the pressure for gallons per minute. So the cleaning power for stuck-on stuff is not as good. But I imagine if you're trying to like sweep leaves or something, that my turbine system would work as well as one of those electric pressure washers. Maybe, sort of. The amount of the power is similar. So if you take your gallons per minute times your pressure, and you get a number, and you compare that to another system, gallons per minute times pressure, and you get a similar number, that means similar power. So I guess that's kind of how that sort of power would work. You can look at hydraulic horsepower calculators on the internet, and they're commonly used on like skid steers or something to calculate implement power. So you can take gallons per minute times pressure, and then out of that you can get horsepower, literally horsepower or watts. And it's exactly the same calculations that I would use for my hydroelectric turbine, which is not running right now because well, I need to replace the hoses first, and second, there's not a whole lot of water right now. I don't know how long the bearing lasts. Chris Harbor has one that he's already replaced the bearing on, and that was after a year or so. And I don't know if mine will last a similar amount of time. They are sealed bearings, but they're, again, in a wet environment, so I don't know how long the bearings will last. It's part of the reason why I have it oriented in a vertical axis, so the water will drain away from the bearings and not have any impetus to go into the bearings. Anil, if you're somewhere in Europe or the Middle East, then yeah, you should go to sleep. Or, you know, wake up, you know, whatever. I don't know what time it is there. I don't know what tubes I'm going to replace, or hoses I'm going to replace that with. Air hose is a common solution. Most air hoses can just do water just as well. And as long as I can find some, it's not an easy thing to Google on the internet. And if I go to like McMaster Car, then it's, I was looking earlier today, it's like $6 or $8 a foot. And I need probably, I don't know, 15-20 feet total to do it all. So that's a lot of money, at least for McMaster Car. I've tried finding other sources and I can't right now. Combustible Dev, thank you. It's 10 p.m. where you are. Yeah, go to sleep. You're not gonna be too entertained here. I hope. I mean, you could be. Whatever. Rice and Beans is saying use PEX. I actually thought about that. They do make PEX in very large sizes. The problem is it doesn't necessarily fit onto my fittings. Also, 1.5" PEX, which is what I would need, is very stiff. And I could heat it up with a heat gun, but that kind of it kind of defeats the purpose of having flexible hose to be able to flip the turbine up and service something. Great Lake Freighters, TL the Edmund Fitzgerald. This is my garage, kinda. It's not done. It's nowhere near done. The floor's unlevel. You can see a ridge there. It's like a 2.5-inch ridge where I tore down a wall because it wasn't load bearing anymore. I have a ceiling that's bare wood. It still needs painted. It's pink because it's from it's fire rated. And the other part over there, I can turn the light on. Oh, I almost fell off another gap in my floor here. And that's the other half of my garage there. I have a lathe, welding table, pressure washers behind the wall over there. It's full of just stuff that's not junk, but projects and things that I haven't gotten to yet. There's a lot of wood there too. A lot of wood for projects. It's a mix of stuff. Hardwood, softwood. That's all the kinds of wood. And do I keep it clean? No. No, it's not clean at all. It's pretty clean right now, and that's because yesterday I had my garden tractor in here because I was replacing the steering cylinder on it. And then later that day I had the garden trailer in here and I was ripping all the wood off of it. So I did kind of clean up this area to get it in here because it was storming outside. It was a lot of rain and I didn't want to work outside. It was also humid, sunny, and rainy. Not at the same time, but sometimes at the same time. It's not clean. Good night, Anil, even though, oh, you're young. I'll have this stream saved for later if you want to watch it later, if you want. I can't speak Spanish. Joe, você e muito auto? I don't know what that means. Scenario legal? Teto de Madeira? I don't even know if that's actually Spanish. It could be like Portuguese. How often do I go up to the intake? I've literally only been up to the intake twice this year, and partially because I'm so busy that I haven't had like what I feel is free time to go up there. So, do I have a day job? Not really. I have a lot of intermittent responsibilities at our business. So that kind of constitutes as a day job. I do get a paycheck from our business. Other than that, I have this YouTube channel that's floundering. And I have some other side hustles, like I have a CNC router that I just got. Like, here's a Pennsylvania clock that I did with it. There's just some roughs on wood that did I tear this down from the walls here? No, I tore the piece of wood down from our business. That's right. So I machined this clock. Kind of did the back of it, not so great. I'm still learning how to use the CNC router. I've tried selling this, but I've had no buyers yet. And so I've done a few other signs and stuff. So I'm trying to make some money with that. I've made how much? $250, and I have about $2,000 into the system so far. So that's not very good for profit. Langston's Alternative Power, Spencer Langston. I made a sign for him, and he's very happy with it. I've only made one sign since I shipped that out, and it's a sign for my daughter that's like a demonstration piece. It has her name and a narwhal below it, and then the perimeter of it is, I have it upstairs, otherwise I would show it to you right now. The perimeter is like rope, and it's all V-carved. And so the sign is blue, and all of the engraving and lettering and pictures are gold spray paint. Does that monitor shake? I think it shakes too much when I touch the desk. So I haven't done a whole lot of new signs. I've been working on other stuff. Also, I still have to figure out an issue with my CNC router, that it's the joint 1 limit error, which is a problem I've been having. In the middle of a job, it'll act like it's touching the limit switch, but it's nowhere near the limit switch. And so far I've ruled out it being related to the motor EMI and any connections. So it could be the wiring or maybe something inside a switch, but if I manually toggle the switches, everything seems to be working okay. So I don't know what the limit switch error could be. It kind of messes up some jobs. Some jobs that I do, I have to like restart in the middle of them. I can show you guys. So it's a Fireball Comet size. Comet is the size of it. There's like an asteroid and the nebulas, which are different size. CNC routers, and I have my Makita router on there with a 3D printed router mount. There's a control box down there that is hooked up to computer, and it's running Linux CNC. It's the stock operating system that came with it. I bought this used a while ago, and not a while ago. I bought it used in the middle of March, approximately. And I'm still learning. It's a small machine, and it's a cheaper machine. So that's that. I'm just checking up on the comments here. Would I consider making a trompe? No. I don't have a need for a lot of compressed air, and a trompe works with a fixed flow rate, and my flow rate is highly variable. So no trompe. Also would limit the operating pressure of the hydro turbine, because now your penstock is filled with a lot of air. So no trompe for me. Good night, Gray Malkin 1234, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Estu Cortino. I have to figure out what you're typing. So let me go to Google Analytics and figure it out. Not Analytics, Translate. Because I don't even know what language that is. Ah, come on. Sorry, I'm just trying to copy some unknown foreign language. I am enjoying. You are welcome. It is Portuguese. I was right, it's not Spanish. I feel like an idiot. I mean, a little bit of an idiot. Do you know English? Hablo inglés? No, that's not. That's Spanish. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. There we go. I'm trying to figure out a way to say something in Portuguese. To Portuguese. Você fala inglês? Voce? Vosa? I don't know how to read your text, I'm sorry. I have no experience with Portuguese. How about this? Oh, I know that. Cal Conger Lambarkison? De nada. How has Corona affected the vet business? Yes, my wife and I own a veterinary business. She is the veterinarian, and I do lots of other stuff. During Corona, we remained open. We never actually even closed. There was about over a month of reduced hours, so we were only working like 24 hours a week or so. But we had, so we still had a lot of business to fill up 24 hours a week. And now there are other local veterinary businesses that are closed. One of them had a corona outbreak, which is odd because we don't actually have a whole lot of corona around here. We have like less than 10 in the whole county so far, total. So our business is actually getting a lot of business from those other veterinarians. Today was a partial day for our business. In the morning, my wife did 2 dentals and a mass removal. And then we like to pad out the rest of the day with appointments or emergencies or things that should be seen. We call them medicals, which is more than just a vaccine or a checkup. And we had 5 call-in same-day emergency medicals, kind of emergencies, some critical, and 4 of them were not our clients that didn't have a history with us. So we had 1 client, and then 4 non-clients. So maybe we now have new clients from them. So we've been pretty busy and doing okay financially. We're actually ahead of the same point last year. So that's relieving. hello to my new viewers. Apparently I can't keep too many viewers because we're bouncing from 20 to 32 up and down in number of viewers. Next step on the hydro project, yeah, I do have to replace that broken hose. But not really related to the hydro project right now. I've been kicking around in my head a way to do like a ram pump, but not a ram pump, so it doesn't use a hydraulic ram effect. It's like a pressure intensifier or pressure amplifier. And I've been working on it. I built a prototype, but it didn't actuate automatically. It would like actuate half of a stroke and come back, but it wouldn't go back and forth. And I think I just don't have a whole lot of energy available to me to self-actuate, so I need to work on a different actuation mechanism. So I have something in my head, and I just have to build it sometime. I don't know when. Do I have air conditioning in here? No. Do I want air conditioning? Yes. I do plan on putting a mini split in, so I'll have heat in the winter, and of course cooling in summer, and dehumidification, which is important to me because I sweat and I have a very high resting body temperature, I guess you could say. I get hot easy. Right now, since I have a thermometer on the wall over there, it's right around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. High today was only like 75 or 77 outside. Even when it's been really hot, it actually stays pretty cool in here because all the walls are insulated. The garage door is insulated. The ceiling is effectively infinitely insulated because our house is above that, and that's got 16 inches of insulation in it. Well, it's cellulose and it's probably compacted a little bit, so we'll say 14 inches of insulation. So it's effectively infinitely insulated because the house itself never gets that hot either, because I usually run the air conditioning in the house. And then the floor is concrete, so that actually maintains the temperature very well. And I'm trying to think of some temperature maximums. Over the winter, it never got below 45 degrees Fahrenheit in here. And I mean, I was running the heat a little bit, so that's probably a factor. But so far this summer, it hasn't gotten above like 72 degrees Fahrenheit in here, and we've had multiple 90-degree days in a row. So that's been nice. Where do I get my motivation? I don't know. I don't actually have a whole lot of motivation. I'm a procrastinator at heart. Red Hot Fiat. Hi. If you don't have water, you might have wind or solar, so go play with those. Thinking to generate power with the ram pump. No, I plan on generating content with the ram pump alternative that's not a ram pump. And maybe store a little bit of water to water the garden. Self-actualization is a challenge. Yeah, I have lots of self-actualization challenges. Sterling Russell, you're welcome. No falar inglés. Do you have a automatic translator running that you can understand what I'm saying? Does it understand this? I hope that came out as jumbled. How are the chickens? Ooh, let's talk about chickens. So, just as a reminder, in March we got chicks, 10 of them, Easter egg layers, and we've been growing them all. They're all happy, they're all alive and healthy and contained. About a month ago, my aunt rescued 6 adult egg-laying chickens. And I have finally merged the flocks in the chicken coop together. So last night I did not let them go into their temporary kennel that was set up for my aunt's house where they came from. And they actually went into the chicken coop after I put some food in there. Just to be clear, my coop has an upper section, which is the inside, and then a lower outdoor section, which has net all around it. And I consider that kind of outside, but it's also kind of inside. So they all went into the outside portion of the coop, and I had to manually pick them up and put them through the sliding hatch to get them into the inside part of the coop. And that all worked great. In the morning, I opened the door. They all ran out. Within a minute, they were all out of the coop. They're like, I can't stand it in here. You guys are all idiots. I want to leave. Tonight, so I again denied them access to their old kennel, the adult egg-laying chickens. I denied them access to their kennel, and they all ended up into the inside portion of the coop, except for one. That one was on our porch, sitting behind the recycling bin. Why? I don't know. Chickens are bird-brained. That's all I can say. How much does the water temp fluctuate? The spring water, I imagine, doesn't fluctuate a whole lot in temperature. Although, because it so closely follows major rain events, I imagine that it does actually fluctuate in temperature. And I have thought about and tried using the spring water to cool my workshop. And that's something that I want to explore this summer. And my buddy Andy, who has the water wheel that's near me, he did agree to at least let me borrow a car radiator so I can plumb my spring water through the car radiator, unpressurized, mind you. And I'll try to get some cooling out of the spring water. The problem is that in the drier parts of the summer, it's dry. And so there's not a whole lot of water flow. And by the time the water gets down through 800 plus feet of pipe to get to my workshop, it might have warmed up some. So I don't know if using the spring water will be giving me some viable cooling. It's something to experiment with, something that I want to do some video on. Você fala português? No. Are you going to automate the chicken coop? RGB the crap out of it? No RGB. In fact, my computer is all black. In fact, the window is facing away from me right now where it is, just because all the plugs are accessible on this side of it. But other automation, I would like to automate the door after we can get the chickens to all be trained to all go inside at a set luminance level outside. How much energy does your spring generate? It hasn't actually been generating any power for the past almost 2 months, I'd say, because we haven't had a whole lot of water flow, and I need to fabricate some small water jets. All the jets that I have are too large and they let too much water flow, and so I lose pressure and then I lose power, and it'll be spinning, generating like 20 watts, or not 20 watts, 20 volts out of out of like 150 volts or 130 volts that it could be generating. So it's like, why do I even have it on? Because at that point, my charge controller's on, draining the battery, trying to power the charge controller, and it's not actually making any power. Let me just reply to my wife. I'm going to be ending the stream soon here. I am using the spring water to water the garden, water the yard, because I have a lot of grass that I'm trying to grow. And I have been using a lot of spring water to water the lawn. Let's see if it's, say, 2 gallons per minute for days on end. Just using the water to water various parts of the yard because it's been so dry, and it because we built our house recently, like 2 years ago, and I've finally been getting to the yard, so I've been trying to grow some lawn. A water reservoir doesn't make any sense because it's so far up the hill I can't get anything up there. Also, I would burn through it so fast that it doesn't matter. Metal pipe holds more pressure, yes, but my black plastic pipe is sufficient right now, except for the pipe that's inside the turbine pit, and I'm not going to replace that with metal. Cal, I don't even know how you're reading what I'm or listening to or understanding what I'm saying. Cal, I'm married. He's asking if I would marry his sister. I'm married already. Sorry. Chris Jones Hydro walkthrough. I have not heard of that. I will have to look it up. I have not checked the potability of the water coming out of the spring.
Hi there, everyone.
And I was just looking at this Hydro walkthrough.
So, I've been following Chris Harper on the YouTube channel. Not much really.
What's this guy got?
In terms of the general
Okay.
size, and averaging over.
Interesting.
It's around about 6 or 7, if I remember rightly. 18.
All right, I'm on to you. I'll subscribe. It has 6 views. And Chris Harper has already responded to it. You guys see that? I'll have to watch that later. Somebody, Mark Rose, told me to come here. And there you are, Mark Rose. All right, Chris Jones, you're getting a lot of notoriety. Let's go back to webcam. Okay, that's it for my live stream. I don't usually talk. And my voice is going now. So, bye. It was fun, and I'll see you guys later.